So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mikko Rusama. I'm relatively new at the city organization. I started as the first Chief Digital Officer roughly 1 year ago, and I was hired by our mayor, Jan Vapaavuori, and when I started, he told me that as an assignment that please deep dive to the organization and tell me what needs to be done, and gave me 3 months to make a plan. And this was a kind of inspiring and I think good way to start in a big organization of 43,000 employees if you count all the subsidiaries of City of Helsinki. So it is the biggest employer in Finland. So I'm planning to tell you about our digital strategy and also link to the theme of interoperability, why interoperability matters. So I think there are at least 3 reasons I work for the City of Helsinki. I think the first reason is our ambitious city strategy and vision that states that Helsinki wants to be the most functional city in the world that makes the best use of digitalization. I find it inspirational and ambition level is at the right level. And the second reason is that starting from our mayor and city executive team, the organization is very committed in delivering this vision. And the third reason is that I believe that as we all know, the role of cities is increasing all the time. Already today, 85% of the people in Finland live in cities, and UN estimate says that by 2050, 70% of human population will live in cities by 2050. So there are more and more touch points with citizens. So the work cities are doing can have a great impact on quality of life. So if I would ask each of you, what does functional city mean? I would probably get very, very different answers. Those having small children would probably tell that in a functional city, I get my children to a good kindergarten close to my home, and or for students, it could mean that the underground or metro is running throughout the night, so I can get home easily during the night time. But I think life is convenient in a functional city, and what it means, we believe that if cities are more proactive and personalized in providing the services, that creates a feeling of functional city. Or if you are able to deal with city using self-service channels 24/7 from your home sofa, that's convenient. So rather than going to some agency during the office hour, you can handle all the matters from home. That is convenient. Or if the kind of tedious tasks are somehow automated, that gives you a feeling of convenient life and convenient city. And here is the challenge. We estimate that cities have over 500 tasks or services dictated by the law. But if we count in all the kind of voluntary services and tasks cities have taken, or City of Helsinki has taken, there are over 700 services that we are providing to our citizens or customers. Our main customers are our own residents, but we also have a lot of 43,000 employees. We have a lot of visitors coming to Helsinki. We have many companies and organizations operating at the City of Helsinki. So the question is that how do the right information and services find the right customer? So I claim that we have a matching challenge, or and service discovery problem. And to connect that with the theme of the seminar, I think metadata will also help in this kind of matching work, as well as efficient and ethical use of data and AI. So this new digitalization will help us doing this matching better and better. There is a big trend change going on in the society. So we firmly believe that we are moving towards a society that is more proactively identifying various service needs and is able to address your individual needs better. So there is a big paradigm shift going on. We believe that City of Helsinki will shift from reactive mode of operating to more proactive mode of operating and serving citizens in a more personalized way. So this is a big change. I claim that traditionally cities have been operating in a very reactive way. We have asked citizens to come to some agencies during working hours or submitting forms in some portal and requesting service. So the question is that, can we get rid of that and provide services for citizens even without asking? Our tax authorities in Finland has been a great inspiration to us. Already today, I believe that most Finns get a personalized tax proposal, and this is a really foundation for the happiest nation in the world. We are all happy taxpayers. But seriously, this is a major change. When I think about my childhood, my father used to fill up these paper forms and collect these receipts and scratched head and didn't look too happy back in the days. So today, for most, you don't have to do anything. You just check that your taxes are recorded and your revenues and deductions are recorded right. And if it's okay, you don't have to do anything. That's a massive improvement. So very personalized way of operating. To put this to now city context, here is an example of a project we are working on. So next year in 2 regions in Helsinki, we are aiming at sending a personalized suggestion on a preschool placement for the parents of young children. So this is a kind of service that city must provide as dictated by law. Service need is quite well anticipated. So why should we ask parents to fill up some forms if we already have all the information available? So now the idea is that we send a text message and parents can respond to the text message and accept the offered preschool placement. Other example of kind of, let's say, proactive approach is our library system. If you have an opportunity, please visit Oodi Library next to Finlandia Hall. It was recently chosen the most beautiful library in the most functional city in the world. But the idea, they have, in addition to being the very beautiful building, they have very advanced library system, meaning that when you return a book, book can be directed to any of the 37 libraries in Helsinki based on the need. So areas with many children, the system can direct more children books. Or if there is an area with great interest on some specific topics, books can be directed there. So I think this is also about being more proactive. There was a recent article earlier this year. There was an article in the biggest daily newspaper, Helsingin Sanomat. Actually, the headquarters is also next to Finlandia Hall, Sanomatalo. And the article stated that 10% of the people generate 80% of the social and healthcare costs. And there was a direct quote that if we were able to identify and treat this group of people well in advance, that would be very beneficial for the state economy. But I claim that it would be also very, very beneficial for the city economy, but even more important, it would be very, very beneficial for the individuals having these problems. So I believe that talking about this proactive city, healthcare has probably the biggest potential. Cost-wise, it is the biggest part of the city budget to provide the basic healthcare services. And this proactive healthcare is not any new approach. Cervical cancer screening has been done in Finland for several years, and it is the second most common cancer for women. And thanks to screening, it is estimated that 250 lives are saved annually only here in Finland. And if you look at these statistics, you see the cancer occurrences 60s and compare the curve to 2013, you can see a huge drop. And I think that is thanks to the proactive screening or preventive healthcare. And as we have now better capabilities for processing and using data and AI, I believe that there will be more and more kind of possibilities to really identify different type of health risks and call in patients at risks, and this way save a lot of misery and save a lot of cost. So this is a great potential if we are allowed to act this way. But my claim is that if we are able to be a little bit more proactive city, we are able to detect not only healthcare risks earlier, but also risk, for example, related to fires or some infections on some regions earlier. And this way we can save lives, improve quality of life, save time, money, and energy. And this is only possible if we use data and AI in an ethical way. And here is the big question: do people trust us to use their data and AI for their benefit? This is a big question. Without trust, there is no use for AI. And this is one reason why we are collaborating with MyData Global, that is really working towards a kind of human-centered internet. And I think their principle of we firmly believe in the principle of empowering individuals by improving their right to self-determination regarding their personal data. So if I put it in simple words, you should dictate on how your personal data is used. And now I share you a couple of use cases we are working on that also link with the theme of this conference. So first one is moving from city to another. So this is one area where we are collaborating with MyData Global and neighboring city of Espoo. But also use case, what if there are people also living in Brussels? If you decide to move to Helsinki, city of Helsinki, would it be nice if you could, I think it would be great if there would be a way for you to grant access to your personal data to the city of Helsinki, and by doing so get better service, get those proactive services. And to implement this kind of use case, it really requires this seamless cross-border and cross-domain data exchange. And here are the challenges. I think interoperability is definitely one of the big challenges. If we look at the systems, technical systems and data structures, they are not compatible. Data is not machine readable. Even if a person from neighboring city of Espoo is moving to Helsinki, I mean, very easily if you ask for the personal data, you get some PDF or PDF document or data in a format that cannot be utilized by the city of Helsinki. Also, we are lacking a kind of common kind of account or profile to which we can attach the kind of data we are moving, and we are lacking the kind of consent management platform where users are able to grant those, give permission to use the data. Also, there are many legal and regulatory issues that needs to be sorted out. GDPR is a very advanced legislation, but there is also a lot of legislation regarding, for example, the use of healthcare data. Then the question is that how to make it understandable for the users. I mean, it's not a trivial challenge to tell people like what they are really granting access to and explaining citizens on how their data is being used without being spooky. And of course, city kind of governance and bureaucracy make things difficult. Even explaining these things in an understandable way for the decision makers is not a trivial challenge. The key capabilities to make this kind of use case a reality are, I mean, capability to act as a data operator. So we need to have capability to import and export data, capability to move data from one system to another, and also we need to be enable users to be able to download their own personal data. And here is where we definitely need kind of standard interfaces and data structures. From my point of view, being now a bit more than a year in the city context, the challenge is that there are a lot of work, not only in commissions, but also in other organizations. For example, Open Agile Smart Cities is working on minimum interoperability mechanism, and even understanding the relevant standards and APIs requires a lot of work. And I realize that there are very few people who have the holistic picture on what's happening nationally and EU level. And then even if I'm talking with US, I mean New York people, then the question goes even beyond EU. Like I have been asked a question like, what if an American company wants to get your healthcare data, and if the company is able to save your life, would you be willing to do that? I mean, I get this kind of question. So the question is that who are the relevant stakeholders to even talk to pursue this kind of use case? Of course, GDPR we have, and that is a starting point, but there are also many other things that needs to be considered. Okay. Other capability we need is this consent management platform, and this is all not only dealing with kind of citizens, but also organizations. Sometimes we are representing companies or organizations, or parents are representing their children. So how to make an understandable kind of consent management platform through which you can easily see what data has been stored and grant access to the use of your data. And what is the right level of detail, how to make it understandable. I think we are lacking this kind of platform today. I mean, third thing is that how to create the user interfaces to kind of for users to make this accessible and understandable. Not a trivial challenge either. My vision is that talking about this kind of MyOperator capabilities and interoperability, I believe that there will be a network of operators holding personal information and data. So the question is that how to make these different operators to interoperate. And this is where we definitely need a lot of not only national but also EU level and international collaboration to make this happen. And most likely, I mean, I have been now familiarizing with for the work of SEMIC, like core vocabularies and the kind of standards that has been done on this group. There will be many. It will be I think also in the future will be many different like standards and data structures. But the questions that how do these different data formats and structures can still be converted in a way that they interoperate. So this is a massive challenge. Talking about these capabilities that are very important to the city of Helsinki is our population information systems, and this is the master database for the population information in Finland, and it is maintained by and developed by Population Register Center. And this is the kind of basic information we get from our residents, and there are like frequent updates done through the APIs. And this is the type of information we get from our residents. But I need to highlight that if you consider that we have over 700 tasks defined in the law, there is a lot of other information that we also store from our users. So how to manage it better is one big theme in our digital strategy. Other use case I want to talk about is a digital twin of Helsinki. We have one of the best digital twins in the world, and this is open and standardized. This is based on open and standardized data model that enables exchange of data. And actually, we have two models. We have the reality mesh model and semantic city GML digital twin model. And this reality mesh model, if you look at the picture, it looks, let's say, a little bit better. It's a bit more accurate, like almost like a photography. If you look at the semantic city GML model, you can see, for example, that building that there are sections that look a bit strange, that kind of white rectangles. But here is the difference. The kind of if you look at this reality mesh model, it is only like, let's say, kind of a polygon mesh. It's just the cover model, whereas the semantic model is really defining, or city GML model is really defining the kind of semantic model of the city. What are the buildings, different kind of part of the infrastructure. So it tells much more information about the geometry and the kind of anatomy of the city. So if you think about this polygon, the kind of this reality mesh model on the left one is just a cover. So you can argue that it's only 10% of the picture. So 90% of the model is semantics, describing the relationships of these different objects. And here is the clue. So these models, through these models, we are able to kind of visualize and kind of merge different data sets. We can connect for example, geodata and environment, urban data to these models and make it much more understandable on how the city operates. And I think it will also help in the decision making. Our 3D team has been planning like what are the different use cases where this 3D or digital twin can be utilized. And I don't now remember how many dots there are, but I mean there are tens of different use cases, and the blue ones are areas where we have been doing some like project or pilots. So there is a lot of potential in using this kind of digital twin, and give you a couple of examples on what have been done. You can actually find this from internet. Helsinki Energy and Climate Atlas. We have been able to combine kind of heating information of buildings in city of Helsinki, and also estimate how much solar energy or solar radiation can be utilized on different buildings. And this is, for example, can be very useful information regarding our target of being carbon neutral city by 2035. So what is the potential of solar energy? I need to advertise our mayor's innovation challenge, how to replace coal plants and use minimal amount of biomass. So there is a 1 million award for the best idea. This is a global challenge recently announced. Other example on how the digital twin is used is the kind of urban planning. So this is a new district, Kalasatama district in Helsinki, and there is a very accurate model made on the new area. So with the help of this model, you can provide very good big kind of idea for you can tell to the citizens and decision makers on how the new area will look like. Also, for example, with the help of model, we have been able to add wind information and analyze the impact of wind to big towers built to the Kalasatama center. So that is also very interesting analysis. You can find more information from our web pages, but this is a very interesting area. This is also a kind of a special district in Helsinki where new innovation can be tested. But here is really the kind of vision we have. So when we talk about digital twin, it should be able to combine both internal and third-party data sources and merge those to kind of virtual worlds or digital twin. And the great challenge is to how to integrate this to the city processes. For example, we have a project where the idea is that all new construction plans would be simulated or visualized through the model. That would make the model really, constantly evolving model. And I claim that it's much easier to if you are able to aggregate different data sources, it's easier to simulate the impact of different actions and decisions, and maybe avoid some of the pitfalls in the city planning. And we also believe that the model should be open. So actually, already today you can download this digital twin model from our web pages, and there are already many applications done on top of this model. For example, the media company next door has been using the model in visualizing some of the articles and the Pasila region that is also built. And so we see that city city is a platform and important enabler for the whole ecosystem, and this digital twin, if further developed, can be one of the enablers of a flourishing digital ecosystem. So, as said, this is a model we will further develop. CityGML, CityGML is a open standardized model, and this is important because this enables us to exchange information by converting this model to different formats used in the industry. And as said, if we enrich the information with new types of data, it will be even more interesting to simulate and predict different cases. And it's all open source. And the third use case is how to utilize semantic metadata to understand cities' decisions better. I used to work for our national broadcasting company, YLE, and this kind of section is also inspired by the work I was earlier doing with YLE. So, firstly, City of Helsinki is making a lot of decisions. We have an open API through which you can search for all the decisions. And I was just recently checking the database, and there was like over 55,000 decisions made by the city. So I think there are very few people who have read all the decisions. And of course you can search for the decisions, but truly understanding what are these all decisions about is not a trivial challenge. And in addition, we are producing a lot of content, and that is published through our web pages and social media channels. We also have like a video service. And all these videos, especially these videos and audio files, are very difficult to understand what is it all about. And this is a vision we were working on while I was working in the media sector, but I think this vision is very relevant in the city context too. So I think we should have a nationwide kind of, I call it metadata machine, but why not EU-wide metadata machine? But of course there is a lot of local content, so if we want to teach the algorithms, there needs to be also a lot of local images and local content. But the point is that regardless of the media type, we should be able to pass that media type to the metadata engine that would do the kind of semantic analysis of the content and add the relevant metadata to that. And I believe that this type of information would help kind of analyzing and comparing city decisions, and also increase the transparency of the city's decision making. So this is, I leave this for you to think further. So now going to our digital strategy and the strategy's objectives, I have been talking about mainly 3 topics about our attempt to be more proactive and personalized in serving our residents. Secondly, how to increase trust by implementing these MyData principles. And thirdly, about the digital twin. Our digital strategy is a 100-page document. This is a 1-page summary stating the city strategy vision, the strategy's objectives, what does it mean, and the different development themes. I will not go through those now, but this is the master plan we are now following up. So as a summary, we we will be more proactive and personalized city, and that is based on the trust of people. And that's why we need to build on these MyData Operator capabilities, meaning that we need consent management platform, we need to have data export, import capabilities. Also, digital twin is important, thinking of interoperability. That will be further developed and it will be integrated with more data sources. And talking about semantic metadata, I believe that we need to work on that to really increase the transparency and understandability of our decisions and operations. And to achieve these ambitious targets, I firmly believe that we need a lot of local and EU level collaboration on these. All right, thank you. I was given this tablet so you can ask questions, but okay. I was wondering, do you also want to ask? I mean, I'm so old-fashioned that you can also ask directly. But so why don't we take first, like, just if you are courage enough, you can ask questions, and then I can also take a few questions from here. Please.
One of the things that I've been puzzled about is how to have a narrative vocabulary that enables you to link together the various things that we actually have got identifiers for, so that you can tell the various stories in small RDF graphs about what's happening within cities. And I was curious as to whether you or anybody else in the audience here have been thinking about this, because I think that that is the fundamental way in which we can begin to get different perspectives on the same things. And that's the way in which we get real usage of the identifiers that we're creating.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I got your question right, but I mean, how to have the narratives talking about these things. If you think about, like, we as a city organization is created to serve citizens, and citizens do not care about the city organization. They don't understand what semantic interoperability mean. What they understand is that they understand their own life, and they have their own needs and problems, and if we are able to help people with the real problems, issues they are facing, then we are doing the work we are supposed to do. And like talking about, I mean, if we approach like telling stories and describing the benefits, I think is one important way to initiate the conversation with the citizens. I think I see the risk that if we are too like system oriented or talk too much tech, we are lost, and people do not understand what we are talking about. So how to put the words in a way that person waiting for a bus understand what we are doing. It's not a trivial challenge. I'm not sure if I now like answered your question or was this any what you meant, but please, anything else? Okay, so for the sake of excitement, I take one question from the here. Could you develop further your view regarding the ethical aspect of AI? If there is an unconscious man lying on the floor, I think most of us would call an ambulance, right? But if in a digital world we can see that you are at risk of dying or getting seriously ill, do we have a permission to call you in and to call you to the doctor's appointment? So this is the question that we are like facing. I mean, already today we are like can see from the healthcare data that there are people that have been diagnosed with diabetes because of high sugar level in the blood, and we can also see that these people haven't gone to doctor to get the proper medication. So the question is, can we call in these patients to get the proper medication and treatment? And if we, so even if we haven't explicitly asked for consent for doing so, and if we don't, are we guilty of neglecting the person? I mean, there are many kind of big like ethical questions. Or I have been asked, like, okay, let's say that we have a capability for handling all sort of consents for our own services, but do we let citizens to give access to insurance company for their healthcare data? And if we allow that, what will happen? Insurance company will start an advertising campaign and offer €50 discount to the local store as a return, thanks to the information citizens are providing. I mean, these are the big ethical questions. Or what if we are using AI to kind of for this school placement, and that is somehow leading to developments where some schools are, some areas are favored more than others. That some feel that okay, this is not now fair like division of or fair rules here. I mean, there are many ethical questions that need to be dealt, and this is why we are working, for example, the City of London and Cities for Digital Rights Coalition on this data and AI ethics, to how to increase the understanding on these issues and how to ask the right questions. Okay, any questions? I think I have time at least to one question. How about the collaboration between Helsinki and some innovation actors in its ecosystems? Yes, I clearly see that we cannot be most functional city in the world if we are not collaborating with local and EU level stakeholders, and so yeah, this is highlighted also in the city strategy, that we see our role as a part of the ecosystem. We are important enabler. We are a platform, both in a physical world and digital world, and yes, we are already today doing a lot of collaboration. Maybe one of the challenges is that there are a lot of stakeholders that, and even in the own organization, sometimes left hand is not knowing what the right hand is doing. So as I earlier said, understand the whole kind of understand the big picture is not a trivial challenge, but through the use cases and being vocal about the use case, we believe that we are able to identify and work with the right people and the stakeholders. But hey, thanks for this opportunity to be here with you. I hope you have a great conference, and have a good day. Thanks.